There's one mistake Sigma males make in relationships that destroys everything they've built. It's not what you think. It's not about being too distant or too independent. It's actually the opposite. And if you've made this mistake, you've probably watched good relationships fall apart without understanding why. I'm going to tell you about the single biggest relationship mistake Sigma males make. And it's going to surprise you, because it goes against everything you think you know about how Sigmas operate. Most advice tells Sigmas to maintain their independence, keep their boundaries, stay mysterious. But that's not the problem. The problem is something most Sigmas don't even realize they're doing until it's too late. Today, I'm breaking down this crucial mistake, why Sigma males are especially vulnerable to it, and how to avoid destroying relationships that actually deserve your investment. Let's get into this. The crucial mistake: treating good partners like everyone else. Here it is. The mistake that ruins Sigma male relationships more than anything else. You've spent your whole life being selective, guarding your energy, maintaining boundaries, keeping people at a distance until they prove themselves worthy of your time and trust. This approach works brilliantly for filtering out toxic people, time wasters, and energy vampires. But here's where it becomes a problem. When you finally find someone who actually deserves your investment, someone who respects your boundaries, someone who adds genuine value to your life, you keep treating them with the same guarded approach you use with everyone else. You've gotten so good at being selective that you forget how to be present with someone who's earned your presence. Think about it. Your partner has proven themselves. They've respected your space. They've demonstrated consistency. They've shown up when it mattered. They've passed every unconscious test you put them through. They're not trying to change you or control you or drain your energy. And you're still operating like they might betray you at any moment. Still withholding parts of yourself. Still maintaining the same emotional distance you maintain with casual acquaintances. Still treating the relationship like it's on permanent probation. This is the mistake. Not recognizing when someone has graduated from person I'm evaluating to person who's earned my trust and investment. Not adjusting your behavior to match the level of relationship you've actually built. Why Sigmas are vulnerable to this mistake. So why do Sigma males fall into this trap more than other personality types? It comes down to how you've learned to protect yourself. You've spent years, maybe decades, perfecting the art of emotional self-sufficiency. You've built walls that keep out manipulation, drama, and energy drain. Those walls have served you well. But walls don't differentiate. Once they're up, they keep everyone out equally, including people who don't need to be kept out. Most people's walls have gates that open for trusted individuals. Your walls are more like fortresses with no obvious entry point. You've made yourself so invulnerable that you've also made yourself unavailable, even to people who've proven they're safe. Plus, there's the pattern recognition problem. You're excellent at spotting patterns, which means you remember every time someone violated your trust, crossed your boundaries, or wasted your time. Those memories inform your current behavior. But this creates a bias. You're so focused on avoiding past mistakes that you can't fully appreciate present opportunities. You're so prepared for betrayal that you can't recognize loyalty. You're so used to people letting you down that you can't accept when someone consistently shows up. And there's another factor. Your independence is such a core part of your identity that you're afraid of losing it. So even when you're in a good relationship, you maintain maximum distance to prove to yourself that you're still independent. You're protecting your identity at the expense of the connection. What this looks like in practice. Let me give you concrete examples of how this mistake manifests. Your partner wants to spend quality time with you. Not because they're clingy or codependent, but because that's how healthy relationships work. But you treat their request for time together like it's an imposition on your independence. You give them the minimum acceptable amount of time while keeping most of your schedule to yourself. They share something vulnerable with you, opening up emotionally. And you respond with the same guarded communication you'd use with a casual acquaintance. Not because you don't trust them, but because being guarded is your default setting and you haven't consciously adjusted it. They make plans that include you, thinking about your life together, and you feel suffocated because you're still operating like a completely independent unit who happens to be dating someone, rather than recognizing that committed relationships involve some level of shared planning. They want to know more about your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, not to invade your privacy, but because emotional intimacy is how people bond. And you keep them at the same surface level you maintain with everyone because you've never learned to adjust your privacy settings based on trust level. They show up consistently, prove their reliability, demonstrate their respect for your boundaries. And you don't acknowledge this or adjust your behavior accordingly. You just keep testing them indefinitely, never recognizing that they've already passed. See the pattern? You're applying your protective strategies uniformly without recognizing that this person has earned a different level of treatment. So what happens when you make this mistake? What's the actual cost? First, your partner starts to feel like they're in a relationship with a wall. They're emotionally available, but you're not. They're investing, but you're withholding. They're trying to build something together, but you're maintaining permanent independence. Over time, this creates a profound loneliness for them. They're technically in a relationship, but they feel alone in it. You're physically present, but emotionally absent. Available, but not accessible. Second, they start to question whether you actually care about them. Because you treat them the same way you treat everyone else, they can't tell if they're special to you or just another person you tolerate. Your lack of differentiation makes them feel interchangeable. Third, they eventually stop trying. They realize that no matter what they do, no matter how much they prove themselves, you're never going to let them fully in. So they either leave to find someone who will actually be present with them, or they stay, but emotionally check out themselves. And here's the part that hits Sigma males hardest. When they leave, you finally realize what you had. You recognize that this person was actually perfect for you. They respected your independence. They didn't try to change you. They added value without drama. But by then, it's too late. They're done. And you're left knowing you destroyed something good, not through any dramatic failure, but through simple unavailability. You lost someone who deserved your investment because you never actually invested. Here's the thing that Sigma males often fail to understand about relationships. Real independence doesn't require maintaining maximum distance from everyone. Real independence means you have the security to be vulnerable with people who've earned it. Being guarded with everyone isn't strength. It's fear dressed up as boundaries. Real strength is having the discernment to know when to lower your walls. Having the confidence to be emotionally available with someone who's proven themselves safe. Having the security to invest deeply in someone without losing yourself. You think maintaining permanent emotional distance protects your independence. But actually, it reveals that your independence is fragile. If you can only maintain your sense of self by keeping everyone at arm's length, you're not truly independent. You're dependent on isolation. True independence looks like this. You can be fully present with your partner, emotionally available, genuinely invested, and still maintain your core identity, your personal goals, your individual interests. The relationship enhances your life without consuming it. But you can't get there if you're treating your partner like a potential threat that needs to be kept at a safe distance forever. So how do you know if you're making this crucial mistake? Here are the signs. Your partner has consistently shown up for you, but you still don't fully trust them. Not because they've done anything to violate trust, but because trust doesn't come naturally to you. You've been together for months or years, but you still maintain the same emotional distance you maintained in the first few weeks. There's been no progression in intimacy or vulnerability. Your partner knows surface-level information about you, but not much about your deeper thoughts, fears, dreams, or feelings. You've never adjusted your privacy settings to match the relationship depth. When your partner asks for more quality time, emotional availability, or shared experiences, your first instinct is to feel suffocated, rather than to evaluate whether their request is reasonable. You spend more mental and emotional energy on your individual pursuits than on the relationship, even though the relationship is supposedly a priority. You can't remember the last time you went out of your way to do something special for your partner. Not because you don't care, but because going out of your way isn't something you do. Your partner has mentioned feeling distant from you, lonely in the relationship, or like they don't really know you. And your response was to dismiss their feelings as neediness, rather than consider whether they might have a point. If several of these signs resonate, you're probably making the crucial mistake. Now, here's the important part. Correcting this mistake doesn't mean abandoning your Sigma nature. You don't have to become codependent, lose your independence, or transform into someone you're not. It just means learning to differentiate. To treat people who've earned your trust differently than people who haven't. Start by consciously recognizing what your partner has proven. Make a mental list of all the ways they've demonstrated respect for your boundaries, consistency in their behavior, and genuine care for your well-being. Acknowledge that they've earned a different level of access than the average person in your life. Then make concrete adjustments. If they've earned your trust, share more of your internal world with them. Not everything, not all at once, but more than you share with casual acquaintances. Let them see some of what you think about, care about, struggle with. Prioritize quality time together, not because you're obligated to, but because relationships require investment to thrive. And you've chosen to be in this relationship, which means you've chosen to invest in it. Be physically present when you're together. Put your phone down. Make eye contact. Actually listen, instead of just waiting for the conversation to end so you can get back to your own pursuits. Express appreciation for what they bring to your life. Sigma males often take good treatment for granted because you don't need excessive validation. But your partner needs to know they matter to you. Participate in relationship-building activities. Not every activity has to serve your individual goals. Sometimes you do things just because they strengthen the relationship, and the relationship is worth strengthening. Show vulnerability occasionally. Not constant emotional dumping, but letting them see that you're human. That you have fears, uncertainties, challenges. This creates intimacy without requiring you to become someone you're not. Make decisions that consider both people, not just yourself. You're not a solo operator anymore. You're part of a partnership. That doesn't mean abandoning your autonomy. It just means recognizing that your choices affect someone else who matters to you. What you're aiming for is balance. Not abandoning your independence, but calibrating it appropriately for a committed relationship. You should still have your own goals, interests, and pursuits. You should still need alone time to recharge. You should still maintain boundaries around your energy and time. You should still be selective about who you let into your inner world. But within that framework, your partner should be in a different category than everyone else. They should get more of your time than casual friends, more of your emotional availability than acquaintances, more of your vulnerability than colleagues, more of your consideration than strangers. This isn't dependence. This is appropriate investment in something you've chosen to prioritize. Think of it like this. You don't treat your career the same as a random hobby, right? You invest more time, energy, and focus into your career because it matters more. The same principle applies to relationships. If you've committed to someone, they should receive investment that reflects that commitment. Not to the point where you lose yourself, but enough that they feel valued and connected to you. The goal is to be present without being consumed, invested without being dependent, available without being accessible to everyone, vulnerable without being weak. That balance looks different for every person and every relationship, but the key is recognizing that balance exists and intentionally pursuing it, rather than defaulting to maximum distance with everyone. Now, to be clear, there are times when maintaining distance is absolutely the right call, even in a committed relationship. If your partner starts violating boundaries you've clearly communicated, distance is appropriate. If they try to change your fundamental nature or pressure you to be someone you're not, distance is appropriate. If they create drama, manufacture crises, or demand constant emotional labor, distance is appropriate. If they show signs of manipulation, control, or toxic patterns, distance is appropriate. The crucial mistake isn't about maintaining distance when distance is warranted. It's about maintaining distance when distance isn't warranted. When someone has proven themselves trustworthy, consistent, and respectful, but you're still treating them like a potential threat, the goal is discernment. Being able to recognize the difference between someone who deserves your walls and someone who deserves your investment. Not treating everyone the same, but having the wisdom to know who's earned what level of access. If you don't correct this mistake, here's what you're looking at long term. You'll go through a series of relationships with good people who eventually leave because they can't sustain a connection with someone who won't actually connect. You'll wonder why you keep losing people who seemed perfect on paper. Or you'll end up in a long-term relationship that feels hollow. You'll be together, but not really together. Physically proximate, but emotionally distant. Technically committed, but practically independent. You'll miss out on the depth of connection that's available in relationships where both people are genuinely present. You'll never know what it feels like to be truly known by someone and still fully accepted. You'll probably end up alone, not because you prefer solitude, but because you made solitude your only option by refusing to be available to people who deserved your availability. And later in life, you'll look back and realize that your commitment to self-protection cost you the very thing that makes life meaningful, genuine connection with people who actually matter. That's the real cost. Not the loss of any specific relationship, but the loss of ever experiencing what relationships can be when you're actually present in them. The crucial mistake Sigma males make in relationships isn't being too independent. It's being unable to recognize when someone has earned a different level of treatment and adjusting accordingly. Your protective strategies work brilliantly for filtering out people who don't deserve your time. But you have to know when to drop those strategies with people who do deserve your time. Otherwise, you're protecting yourself from the very connection you claim to want. Being selective is a strength. Being unable to differentiate between people who've earned your trust and people who haven't, that's a weakness. Don't let your commitment to independence cost you relationships with people who respect that independence. Learn to be present with people who've earned your presence. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. If you've made this mistake and watched a good relationship fall apart because of it, drop a comment with the word present. and share what you learned. And if you want more content about maintaining your Sigma nature while still building meaningful connections, hit that subscribe button. I talk about finding this balance every week. Until next time, protect your energy from people who don't deserve it, but invest in people who do.